We're back. That's right. Finally, right? Metropolitan and Economic Development Committee. Gonna be a little bit boring at the beginning. That's why I'm gonna timestamp everything. We got a couple of appointments, and then we got some bonds being put out there. I listened to a little bit of it, and this proposal, I think it was 384 or 16, I'm not sure. There's like some goofy stuff going on where the down payment is getting subsidized by your taxpayer money. But and one of them had this one lady had like the worst proposal or like a presentation. But go ahead and listen. I got it all time stamped at the bottom so you don't have to listen to everything that's boring.
Good evening. I will now call to order the Metropolitan and Economic Development Committee to order for Monday, January 13th. We'll begin with introductions of my colleagues on the first row.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brian Mallory, District 25.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Paul Lene, District 22.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nick Roberts, District 4.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kristen Jones, District 18.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brienne Delaney, District 2.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Ron Gibson, District 8.
Thank you, Madam Chair. John Barth, representing District 7.
Good evening, Councilor Jared Evans, representing District 17.
Thank you, councilors. My name is Maggie Lewis, District 5. The first item on our agenda is proposal number 8, approves the mayor's appointment of Megan V. as the director of the Department of Metropolitan Development. Director V, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. I'm truly honored to be reappointed as the Director of the Department of Metropolitan Development. This year has been filled with challenges and growth, and it has been a privilege to lead and collaborate with such a dedicated and talented team. I want to take this moment to acknowledge and thank each member of the department for their hard work, passion, and commitment to serving our community, and also for all of your commitment as well. Our success has been and will continue to be a direct result of the collective effort of our team. Tonight, I'm joined by the deputy directors and administrators of DMD. Together, we made significant strides in improving our processes and enhancing the efficiency with which we serve our city. We're continuously focused on identifying opportunities for innovation and growth, always with the goal of making our department more responsive, transparent, and effective for those who rely on us. I'm proud of what we've accomplished and even more excited for the work ahead. Thank you to the Mayor's Office and the City Council for your ongoing trust and support. I look forward to continuing our important work together and driving meaningful progress in our community.
Are there any questions for Madam Director?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I think the director is off to a great start. I want to thank her for our partnership. She certainly listens and she engages on various topics in my district, so I'm very appreciative of your leadership, and I look forward to working with you in this new year.
Thank you.
No, I'd say something to the director. I told her offline. She's done a really great job getting started. She's, I think, really representing the administration really well, and she lives in District 7, so I encourage everyone to support her.
Other comments from councilors? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 8? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Is there a second? The motion has been properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 9, approves the mayor's appointment of Abbey Brands as a director of the Department of Business and Neighborhood Services.
Oh,
Madam
really?
Director.
DNS. Oh, boy. I cannot wait for the snow to melt so I can get my table saw out and I can actually build a whole mounting thing for my monitors. I know I'm just killing time right now. Also, check out Indie Reporter at Twitter. Indie_reporter_. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And make sure you check out this Saturday's show, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. A lot of crazy stuff going on. What is going on over there? You guys new? Even Brian Maury's like, what the fuck is going on?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I put together a whole presentation that now I'm feeling like is overkill. So bear with me. I talk very fast, as you all know. My name is Abbey Brands. I'm the Director for the Department of Business and Neighborhood Services, presenting on Proposal 9 this evening. Also, I was sick for the last 2 weeks of December and have a terrible cough, which is why I have a cough drop in my mouth right now, because I also didn't think I would be starting it.
Nobody cares, all right? Nobody cares.
And I can't. All right. Oh, that's why.
What is going on here? $1.6 billion budget.
Right. So to break down the department, I won't spend a ton of time on this, but just highlighting the different divisions within our organization and the amazing team that oversees them. As this body knows, Animal Care Services is no longer part of our department, but I do still have it here because we are still transitioning some of those functions that we support them with. To quickly touch on staffing, we are at 211 staff members with ACS no longer part of our head count. We currently have 30 vacancies. Last year when I presented to you, we had 71 vacancies. So we've definitely seen an improvement there. I'll also add that of those 14 non-union positions, some of those are seasonal or positions where we're moving lines around. So while we have 30 vacancies, that's not necessarily impactful of 30 individuals. The table to the right there is something I'm very proud of. As you guys know, we negotiated all union contracts last year, including AFSCME. AFSCME took a bit of a non-traditional approach in that they allowed some right-sizing of positions and also to kind of move around the levels of which individuals were paid. So we saw substantial increases for individuals going into 2025, and they will all see a 3% increase year over year. So as far as BNS position goes, with our local AFSCME, or I'm sorry, our AFSCME local 1437, our 2025 increases were as high as 23% for some individuals. The average is 13%. And with that 3% annual increase, we'll average 24% increases for the life of the contract. Additionally, what isn't shown here is our certifications. So a building inspector, that line may look similar to some of those other roles, but they could qualify for up to $8,000 in certification, so that will bump them up that much higher. Talking about construction and business services, I always present to you the permits we reviewed, not necessarily issued, because sometimes projects can be canceled or people don't pay for permits. That doesn't mean that review didn't happen. So we reviewed almost 51,000 permits last year. The building inspections number you see there is important. It's 23,000. That is almost 9,000 more than we completed the year prior. In 2023, we did 15,000. In 2022, we did 16,000. That is the difference between having 7 building inspectors versus 15. This is incredibly important because it means we're getting across our county, we're getting in more buildings, and we're ensuring that what's being constructed in our county is up to code and safe. Next number there, stormwater inspections, over 9,000. This, again, is another important number because it is a piece of regulatory compliance that I think it's often overlooked in our department. We do have to adhere to certain FEMA guidelines, and some of those are related to inspecting stormwater for private projects. Amy Wonder, our Deputy Director over Construction Business Services, has done an amazing job in course correcting this team and the work that they do. And I think that's reflected in this number. By comparison, we did 2,000 inspections the year prior. So I won't go into detail with all these other things, but just wanted to provide some stats. In 2025, we'll have some big events that we're helping coordinate. I also mentioned here just coordination with DMD and the new Economic Development Corporation. I think we have a really good opportunity, kind of 2 buckets to think about permitting.
Oh boy, so the NDDNC is just like the Indiana, or like the IEDC, Indiana. So it's basically going to be another shadow government for them to launder more money.
On one side, it's continuing the work that we have already started with policy and process improvements and doing everything we can to make sure we're meeting people where they are. On the other side, and the second bullet, the spirit of that is resetting the narrative related to permitting. I think there is a narrative that's been created by our development community that we have been moving away from every single day with every single improvement we've made, and we have a really good opportunity to kind of reset what that looks like. We know there are developers and firms within our county that understand the zoning ordinance, that understand building code. And while every project is different and there might be obstacles, there are firms that are making their way through the permitting process pretty smoothly and easily. And so we want to try to figure out, like, what is that delineation? Why are some people being able to grasp this and do this easier than others? And how can we meet those others where they are to make sure it can be smoother for them? Finally, the last piece there is Open Counter. It's a tool that the city's utilized before, but on the non-residential side. I want to utilize it on the residential side. So what it means is that you could say, I'm Abbey Brands, I want to build a garage, I live here. And it will say, okay, Abbey Brands, like, that's where you live, great.
Yeah.
You might need IHPC approval, or you might need admin approval. Are you building a one-story garage or a two-story garage? And it will walk you through the process so you can understand what kind of permits you're going to need and how much they might cost. I really think we need to work better to close the gap with residential just as much as non-residential.
Yeah, who would have guessed, huh?
Property and land use services, some more stats that I won't fully go into, but really proud of our neighborhood cleanup program where we picked up 42 tons of litter. By comparison, we picked up 24 tons the year prior. So in encouraging more of our staff to participate, we've been able to pick up more litter. The council provided us an investment of $3 million last year into our demolition program, which was a huge deal. We were able to demolish 41 structures last year. It was 35 the year prior. And then we'll be demolishing we put 57 structures in bid packages to go into this year. So we are seeing that number tick up. It's never going to jump from 57 to 200 because it is a very regulated process as far as how we go from starting a demo case to finishing it. But we are, with that investment, able to make, I think, more qualitative decisions and target properties that have been nuisances for a long time and larger properties that we maybe wouldn't have been able to afford to demolish previously.
They're already demolishing the old jail, and they're going to put the Indiana Fever training facility there, and it'll have a sky bridge, I think, to Gainbridge. You know, I posted this today on Twitter. Once Caitlin Clark is gone, or once and the novelty, honestly, of women's basketball, because they're absolutely terrible, that will just turn into another dumpster fire.
In 2025, I'm going to keep addressing that demolition backlog. I also would like to try to focus our attention more on vacant structures. So as we were proactive with our alley program and illegal dumping, I think we could also be proactive when it comes to the vacant structures in our community. The U.S. Census stated that there were approximately 34,000 vacant dwellings within Marion County in 2023.
Jeez.
And as the city faces a pretty significant housing crisis, we can't just keep looking to new builds. We have to look at some of our current housing stock. So OCC is currently looking into statute of what we could be doing to be more proactive in that measure and hopefully help provide some solutions to this.
You want to know why? It's because you have a bunch of illegals in this country. Get rid of them, and you'll have an overstock of housing. It's literally that simple.
This problem. Abatement programs. We have a free abatement program when it comes to illegal dumping on a residential property. If someone dumps on your property, we'll clean it twice in 1 year. We know that there are other case types that we have that could also be disproportionately problematic for individuals. For example, high weeds and grass. If you're an elderly individual or a disabled individual, you may very well want to be in compliance but not have the means or capacity to do so. So looking at ways that we can spread out our abatement programs, not just illegal dumping, but everywhere else where we might touch an individual. Form overhaul, it is what it sounds like. We have a lot of legalese in our forms. They're very dry. They don't meet people where they are, and we could be doing a much better job of both communicating what we're doing and also translating those forms. I won't spend a ton of time with ACS because they're now their own agency. Isn't that great? But we are still working through the transition. We committed to the mayor's office and the controller's office that we would facilitate a lot of their administrative and financial needs up to budget planning for next year, and that's while they get a CFO underway. We also still hold many of the contracts related to shelter construction, and I will say I'm personally invested in seeing this project go well and remain accelerated as it has, so we will stay involved in that project. Finally, just some of these things I've already touched on, so I won't go too far into detail, but alleys and illegal dumping. We took some time to find the right program manager last year that one, understood what we were trying to accomplish, but two, quite frankly, was cost effective and didn't eat into the overall cost of the project. We identified 20 segments and have completed 2. We'll complete the other 18 in early spring, and we will be coming back to fiscal that remaining fund so that we can jump into a phase 2 pretty quickly. Vacant properties I briefly touched on, permitting I briefly touched on. IT and public engagement is really looking at all of the development that we had to stall for Acela while we worked on the upgrade, picking that back up. Additionally, we want to be doing some system discovery this year where we look at potential replacement solutions for Acela if that's something we want to navigate down the road. There's also other tools we've been investing time and money in that will be easier for the public to understand the work that we're doing. One, for example, is dot maps, which can visualize current and maybe future closures, as well as current active permits that we could put on Indy.gov in kind of a beta state for people to be able to visualize more of those closures. I've already touched on ACS. The final thing, rate and fee assessment. You may remember I had this on my list last year. We contracted with a firm that conducted a rate and fee assessment in the second half of the year last year. And it wasn't just on accounting. They actually met with our teams to understand what is the cost of each of the tasks that we do, how much time and effort is really going into each of the things that we produce as a department.
Yeah, it's called value.
We hope to have a first draft of that in hand within the next couple months. I'm not sure to what degree we will pursue forward with it, but as it states here, the rates were last established in 2008, and so we are beginning to feel some of the pressure of 2025 expenses with 2008 revenue. So something.
Oh, womp, womp, womp. I guess you know why? That's why you're doing the efficiency thing, because you realize you're spending far too much money on things that aren't needed. See, it's just common sense, though. If you're wasting money and you're like, I don't have enough money, maybe we should stop doing things then. The Democrat brain is just wild.
Thing we're looking into. All right. I'm going to breathe now.
Great.
I did it.
Great.
Are there any questions?
Awesome.
Yes, Councilor Evans.
Thank you, Leader. Director, one, thank you for the presentation. I think it speaks volumes that you're able to give us a presentation and show us the work that you have been doing.
Oh my God, you're sick. You're so brave, Queen, for braving the waters and then coming down here and giving us a presentation, even though you had the sniffles. Oh, no.
The bread and butter of addressing a lot of the quality of life issues in our city that people don't necessarily look at every day and think, man, I really want to make sure BNS gets funded today or they've got enough people. But it is a lot of what you went over, those things that make them feel a little bit better about their life in this city. And I just want to tell you, in support of you, appreciate the work that you do. I appreciate the honesty. You have been one. There's been some directors before you who just seem to think we're just doing everything fantastic and rosy, and you've not done that. You've admitted some fault. We're working on it. It's going to take time to address it, and no city is going to be perfect. Nothing that we do is always going to be perfect. So it's refreshing to have that. And as far as I'm concerned, you're a shining light in this administration. With regards to the integrity and the way you approach things. So I'm very excited to support you today for that director position.
That's her job, okay? That's literally her job. And you're just like, oh, you're so brave, Queen. Oh, you're doing such a great job. She's literally doing her fucking job.
Councilor Delaney.
Thank you, Madam Leader. Director Brands, I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. Every time you come before us, you give a presentation, and I always learn something. What you do is a lot of times behind the scenes, but when you need business and neighborhood services, you need them. And so I think it's really important that you are informing us and the public, and I do appreciate your presentation, and the time is well spent. So thank you.
Councilor Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll say all the same. I appreciate working with you in the last year. I feel very fortunate to have you as a director. Also very fortunate to have Director Vukusich director. Former Director Brandon Herget, too. We have a rock star of 3 good directors back to back to back. One thing that I'll applaud you for is obviously the handoff of animal service. That's been a very complex issue you've worked on this year, not just having the ordinance in place, but again, the handoff to Director Diamond. Just wondering, how's that going? Obviously, there's a lot of complexity with the new facility there, but how is it managing all of, again, that bureaucracy moving to a new department? And is there anything we can do to help out through that process over the next however long to make it as easy as possible for you guys?
It's a great question. I don't know that there's anything explicit for counselors to do. I think, Kelly,
fuck out of my way.
Director Diamond, very likely she has a lot of really great requests going in next budget season, so I think just be open-minded to that. But no, the transition is going really well. Obviously, Director Diamond and I have a really great relationship, and I have the utmost confidence in her leadership in that role. As I stated, we have the Chief Financial Officer position posted. We also have a Operations Manager position posted that'll report to that position. And so while we're working on filling those, we're obviously still helping with payroll needs and financial needs and contracting needs and things like that. But yeah, no, I think everything's going as well as
splendidly.
as
They're
well
going
as it can
splendidly.
be. And, very confident in her abilities.
Additional comments? Councilor Barth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to jump in and continue lavishing praise on Director Brands here. The thing I would just add, in addition to what everyone else said, is I really appreciate, and I've communicated this to you, though, that you have, especially in the animal care services, you really did a disciplined job of thinking about the problem, assessing the problem, coming up with a solution, gaining support, and executing it. I haven't often seen something done with such discipline and clarity in the city, and I think that's a really good example of how things could and should be done. That was A+, and the results are showing for themselves. And I do just want to add on and say that animal care services, with the cold weather, the director, Ms. Diamond, I appreciate her over the weekend at night. At all times when she should be disconnecting, she has been responding to my many emails from my constituents who are concerned about animals out in the cold, and helped me get information that I could push out to my constituents so they understand the ordinance and the requirements, and that was really meaningful in this sort of challenging time for everybody to get through the snow and the cold. So I appreciate that and appreciate you. Thank you.
Councilor Gibson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Director, your team has just been excellent. A couple of notes. I really appreciate, I don't know if I should call them code enforcement, that's what I still call them, code enforcement. But when we have violations in my district, your team just gets out there and handles them very aggressively. I appreciate that so much. It means a lot to my constituency, and I really appreciate the prompt response and well-organized team that you have in code enforcement. They really deliver, and I appreciate that. The biggest thing I want to say to you is the demolition of the apartments on Emerson. I can't thank you enough, and Mayor Hogg said enough, for everything you guys have done there in terms of the demolition. That demolition buzz is so great in my district that it is it's really giving you guys a real new light in my district. I mean, they're really very pleased with that demolition project, and I know it's just the start of it and other things to come, but I just wanted to let you know we are watching, and the district is very pleased. I can't tell you enough there, and the buzz is hyped. It was almost like our Christmas gift. As a matter of fact,
what are you guys talking about, huh?
And it buzz just went. Everybody was calling my phone,
guys,
emailing me.
Whispering sweet nothings into your ear.
It's really good news. So thank you for the work that your department is doing on vacant properties in our city. Appreciate you.
Additional comments from councilors? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 9? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Councilor Gibson.
I move that we send Abbey Brands reappointment to the full council for final adoption.
Second. The motion has been properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you so much for your presentation and your willingness to serve. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 10, appoints Brandon Herget to the Metropolitan Development Commission.
So what is he doing now?
Yours, sir.
Former DPW head.
And why you're interested in serving in this capacity.
Yeah, absolutely, Madam Leader. Thank you. Members of the committee, it's good to be back in front of you. For the viewing public at home, as Madam Leader,
that's me and you, baby.
As Councilor Roberts mentioned earlier, I'm the previous director of the Department of Public Works.
I see his bitch tits are coming in full season.
So no stranger to this room and this body. It is a pleasure to be back in front of you here after leaving the department in December. When I left the department, I think I spoke with many of you individually, and I know I've spoke with the administration about wanting to continue to serve, continue to be involved, continue to be down here. I think everyone knows, but again, for the viewing public's information, I grew up in this city, I care about this city, and though I made the decision, the difficult decision to leave.
He doesn't care. He doesn't live in Indy, though. Does he? No, he lives outside of Indy.
Public service.
Let me double
I want
check.
to continue to find ways to serve, and so I'm thankful for the council's consideration of appointing me to the MDC. I know it's a very important body. I know it's one that has a great deal of responsibility. It's something I don't take lightly, and if you all do approve this appointment, it's something, again, I won't take lightly and will take very seriously, along with the information, institutional knowledge that I've gained over the years working for the council and the administration previously. So happy to answer any questions you might have about my resume, about my intent, et cetera.
Oh, maybe I am wrong. Maybe he does live. I think he's like right on the outskirts, though. Oh, fuck.
Yep, Councilor Evans.
Thank you, Leader. Not a question, just a comment. Brandon, excited to support you tonight for your role in the MDC.
He's literally right on the edge of Marion and Hamilton County. All right. Hey, I live in this city barely. Dude, you live in like a fucking $331,000 home. Don't pretend you're one of us normies.
I always do try to put out to our MDC members, though, is to make that extra effort when those projects are coming before you guys to actually go out there and view those zoning cases and things of that nature, and to give the communities and the neighborhoods and things of that nature a little bit of an extra thought process with that. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Other questions, comments from councilors? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 10? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Councilor Gibson.
Madam Chair, I move that we send proposal number 10, appoints Brandon Herget to the Metropolitan Development Commission to the full council for final adoption.
The motion has been properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
Man, you know what would be so funny for me to be on one of those boards, but no Democrat and no Republican would ever let me anywhere close to being on a board. Put me on a public works board. I will just annihilate all of those people with facts.
Thank you, and thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is proposal number 12, reappoints Jennifer Whitt to the Metropolitan Zoning Appeals Board. Ms. Jennifer.
Jennifer Whitt is like one of the worst people ever. And she bans people on the Wayne Township community chatter, and she'll admit it too. She banned me one time because I was saying that dogs should not be outside when it's cold out, and I got banned for that.
Hi, thank you, council members.
This lady is the worst.
To the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Any questions for Ms. Jennifer Whitt? Is it, yeah, Councilor Evans?
Thank you, Leader.
Her face.
I know I call her Jay Whitt, Jennifer Whitt. So she's done a great job. She comes out of Wayne Township. I'm glad to have her from the west side representing that part of the community. And I know that she's very thorough in her questioning because counselors have been irritated, and that's always a good thing. So I'm happy to support my friend tonight.
Of course, your friend.
Other questions, comments? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 14? 12, sorry, 12. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Councilor Evans.
Thank you, Leader. I'd like to make a motion to move proposal number 12, reappointing Jennifer Whitt to the Metropolitan Zoning Appeals Board to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
The motion has been properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Thank you.
Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 14, reappoints Mr. Roderick to the Metropolitan Zoning Appeals Board. Good evening, sir. Can you share a little bit why you're interested in continuing to serve in this capacity?
I am. Madam Chair, councilors, thank you for my consideration to be reappointed to panel board 3 of the Zoning Board of Appeal. This will be my 7th year if I'm reappointed. I'm an attorney here in the city, been practicing law for 47 years. I believe in community service, giving back, and I see this as a way of giving back to the community.
Wonderful. Any questions? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 14? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. The motion has been properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is proposal number 15, reappoints Percy Bland Jr. to the Metropolitan Zoning Appeals Board. Good evening. Same question.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair and Commission. It is a great privilege and honor to serve the city of Indianapolis under your leadership. Appreciate all that you all do, your hard work. I actually left my incredible PowerPoint presentation at home today. But no, it is a great inspiration to see all of the work that goes in. I share the heart for the city, see it as service, and nights before our hearings, I just can't sleep thinking about going back to a zoning hearing. But, no, I do appreciate you and look forward to serving another term with your permission.
Wonderful. Thank you. Questions? Councilor Gibson.
I just want to thank him for his service as well. He actually goes to my church. He's my youth pastor. So it's a pleasure to see you continue to serve in community service as well.
Yes, I appreciate your leadership.
Additional questions, comments? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 15? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Councilor Gibson.
My pleasure that we recommend we send proposal number 15, reappoints Percy Bland Jr. to the Metropolitan Zoning Appeals Board to the full council for final adoption.
The motion has been properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you for your
Thank you
willingness
all.
to serve. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 16, authorizes the issuance of one or more series of City of Indianapolis, Indiana Economic Development Tax Increment Revenue Bond Series 2025 Federal Taxable Arnold Place Project in a maximum aggravated principal amount not to exceed $1,600,000 for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of the Arnold Place project. That was a mouthful. Floor is yours.
Good evening. I am Jeff Hasser. I'm the Director of Housing Strategy for the Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnership. I believe we'll have a PowerPoint as well. I can't guarantee it will be as good as Director Brands, but we will do our best. So again, we are talking about the Arnold Place townhomes. I'm sure you remember this from last year when we talked briefly in the establishment of the HOTIF. But just to give you a brief overview of who INHP is, we create affordable housing solutions for people with low and moderate incomes and collaborate to enhance quality of life in Indianapolis neighborhoods. We believe home and community are foundational quality of life, no matter who you are, where you come from, or what you look like. We stand against the persistent housing inequalities faced by historically marginalized communities, and we are committed to advancing equitable, affordable housing solutions that address the diverse needs, preferences, and barriers of those we serve. To give you a background of the timeline for the Arnold Place project, in 2022, INHP submitted a response to an RFP through the City of Indianapolis. In late 2023, we were selected, we were funded, and broke ground on the project as well. In 2024, we were under construction, and in April 2025, the townhomes will be completed and ready for sale. So we're very excited. If you happen to drive by, you can actually see some of them almost completed right now. So who is Arnold? The Neighborhood Association, who actually has representatives here today, proposed naming the project after Mr. Albert Arnold, Reagan Park's resident centenarian. He has lived in the neighborhood for more than 70 years, and we were honored to name the project after him. You can see a rendering of the Arnold Place here.
Good God, that is ugly.
The units to be between.
Dude, you have, so over by, or at least in Hawthorne, you have something very similar to that. It's on like, I forgot, it's off Washington and something near Tibbs. And they have something very similar to this monstrosity. And all they're really going to be doing is making it like gentrifying, which is basically the whole goal. But like, look at how ugly this shit is. It is absolutely terrible. You know what? I'm going to screenshot this. I'm going to use this for the Saturday show.
1,300 to 1,500 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1 to 2 car garage. And you can see some of our partners listed at the bottom, including the City of Indianapolis. We'll have 2 floor plans, the Hosford and the Soho. Both will be 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. The only difference will really be the
1,500 square
number
feet.
of garages, car garages, so 1 for the Hosford and 2 for the Soho, and then the square footage associated to both. Give you a site map of the project. If you look at the map, the very top is 25th Street. The north-south street adjacent to the project is Winthrop Avenue. And then if you go all the way over to the right of the picture, you'll see the Bohannan along the tree line.
Holy jeez. Okay, so you have a church in front of it, and then you have to drive all the way to the back, or there's another entrance into here. Wait, no. Okay. Okay, I got it. It's a rendering. And then you have the Bohannan Trail. And these are affordable housing, which we know that most affordable housing, it doesn't exactly have the best people, all right? So this portion of Bohannan Trail is going to be Rape Alley, is what's going to happen, because you're going to have a bunch of scumbags living in these affordable housing that don't give a shit. And by the way, I've seen it firsthand, okay? When I was out door knocking, there were these like freshly built homes or like completely redone. You could tell that it wasn't even that old, maybe a year or 2 old. Then I go over there doing door knocking, and like it's completely destroyed. Like they don't. It was kind of in like in a wetter area, and there was just mold growing off of it too. It was all green, and like the lawn wasn't kept up. It smelled too. It's like they're not going to give a shit about any of this stuff. They never do.
It is a great location. We were very.
And then you're going to have the Bohannan Trail, which we already know is filled up with homeless people that are going to be either trying to rob or rape a bunch of people. Why would anybody do that?
Very excited when we were selected as the developer for this site because of the potential that we saw. We're proposing 33 total townhome units, and blue is phase 1. Those are under contract and under construction. In orange, you'll see phase 2, which we anticipate hopefully being able to complete sometime in the future. A minimum of 51% of these homes will be affordable to buyers earning up to 80% of the area median income. And phase 1 of the project will include the first 20 units of this project. The Office of Minority and Women Business Development issued an exemption as related to an inclusion plan for the project due to 2 reasons. First, the bond proceeds are being used for down payment assistance, not construction. And the second, the funds are going to a registered nonprofit organization, INHP in this case. However, that said, INHP and Onyx and Alice East both held public bid meetings within the areas and advertised to engage XBE businesses in
Look at this crap. They're going to be used for down payment assistance. So that means that you're going to have most of these welfare queens are perfectly able to get a job, and they'll probably claim like disability, right? And what's going to happen is that, oh, we're going to put down a certain amount, and but the taxpayers are the ones that's going to get down payment the rest of it.
Project. Now to go into detail about the HOTIF bond, the reasons for exploration are 2 reasons. First, we increased the unit count from 33 from the original proposal to the city. And then the second is the increase in interest rates that we've seen over the past couple of years that have limited the buying power of our affordable buyers. For the allocation strategy, INHP is only requesting the use of the HOTIF increment generated by the Arnold Place project. All other increment generated is to be used at the discretion of the city and the Reagan Park neighborhood. We will play no role in the allocation of the increment outside of the Arnold Place unless requested by the city and the Reagan Park neighborhood. For our use of HOTIF funds, the bond...
This is unbelievable. The bond proceeds will be used for down payment assistance. This is unbelievable.
Proceeds will be going, as I mentioned, to down payment assistance and financing to the Arnold Place buyers.
So imagine that you're trying to buy a home, right? And you know that you can get like an FHA or a standard loan, and you have to put down, I forgot how much it is. I think it's 4% if for FHA, and then like 8%, but it's only for qualified banks that are allowed to do it. You know, it goes into a little bit more weeds than that because of the inspections that you have to do. But let's just say standard I think it's 8% for a standard loan. And you work your butt off. I mean, you're working your ass off for years. I don't know, however long it is. You're like, I want to buy a home. I need to have at least this amount. And then I have to have a little bit more amount, for whatever problems might be with the house. So then these welfare queens are like, oh, no, you know what? Hey, I got like this amount of money, right? Can you help me out, Mr. Taxpayer? And the taxpayers are like, hell yeah, because you know what? We're still, the developers, they're going to be getting their cash. And it's like, well, the taxpayers are really funding this whole thing anyway, so who gives a shit? And it's for 30 years, so, not like anybody's be really paying attention. So the standard person who wants to work hard and, buy a home is going to get screwed because of these welfare kings and queens that they get to buy a house off the taxpayer dime. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable.
This gives you an idea of a one-person household and how the capital stack should work. So the home sale price, per the city's policies and procedures, we list at the plans and specs appraisals of the project, which is $350,000. The reasoning for that is we want to essentially have a neutral impact onto the market. So we don't want to come in high on the market and suddenly we're increasing people's property taxes.
Yep.
And we don't want to come low in the market and suddenly we're driving down people's property values.
Yeah, but then you're also driving down property taxes. This is what people don't understand. For you normies out there that actually understand that how to stretch a dollar, this is how it works. And I'm glad that he is fully aware of this stuff. When you have some kind of improvement on your home or there is some kind of improvement in your area, your home value automatically goes up. And what else goes up? Your property taxes go up. By no fault of your own if there's development happening in your area. So what happens is everybody's houses go up in value and everybody's property taxes go up in value. And that's just the problem that we're seeing right now. There's not enough homes because you have all these illegals coming in. And so what he's saying is, hey, we're only going to have it for $350,000 for this 1,500 square foot condo, which is unfucking believable, by the way. That is so much money for a 1,500 square foot condo that you have to share with somebody. You have to hear them fucking. You have to smell their spaghetti or their curry next door or whatever bullshit because you know it's not insulated and you know it's not soundproof. And then you know what happens? Hey, Mr. Taxpayer, I'm gonna give $7,000 for this $350,000 home. Can you help a brother out? And the developer, this fucking clown, comes out and says, "Hell yeah, brother, we got $140,000 of taxpayer money that we're gonna help you on this whole thing." And so we're going to subsidize this home for $230,000. The only thing that I am happy about quotation marks is that they are fully aware that subsidizing homes will artificially raise your home value and then automatically raise your property taxes. I'm glad that they have enough brain to figure that shit out. This stuff drives me up a fucking wall because this is what happened with colleges. This is what happens when the government get involved. This is why the 08 collapse happened, because old Slick Willie was like, everybody decides everybody needs a home, right? And it's like, why don't we get the fucking government involved to subsidize some of this stuff? Instead of making sure, hey, can you work? Do your legs work? Are you not a fat fucking slob? Are you able to actually get a job? Okay, then get a job. Just unbelievable. It's just crazy.
They're thinking of selling. So we're really trying to come in right at the market. So that $350,000 is representative as an appraisal that we issued. In this model, we have one client that would be providing $7,000 of down payment assistance. We'd be providing $140,000, $7,000 of the client's own cash. INHB would be providing $140,000 of down payment assistance. We'd be issuing a market expander loan, which is it's a kind of a unique financing where the client can benefit from a 20-year interest rate for a 30-year loan. So you can see how it is separated in terms of the $140,000 $213,000. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look up there, and it's very small, so I'm going to get some numbers
$1,400
wrong.
a month for 30
and then
years.
I think our estimated monthly payment, which I can't see, but I'm guessing is just under $15,000 or something around $1,500, excuse me. So our total INHP subsidy in this case is $230,000. So it is a significant amount of subsidy. In this case, most of our affordable housing projects you're probably familiar with. Most of the subsidy goes on the development side. This is one instance where most of it goes on the buyer side. For the Arnold Place uses, our project uses, we anticipate about hard and soft construction costs to be somewhere around $13 million. Our developer fee for the project will be somewhere around $200,000. For the sources, we anticipate the sales proceeds to be around $7 million. We're incorporating new markets tax credits for a subsidy amount of just over $1 million. We were fortunate enough to be awarded Indianapolis African American Quality of Life Initiative funds of $500,000. We received an ARPA grant from the city for $1.8 million. The HOTIF proceeds, as you've seen mentioned in the proposal, is $1.6 million. And then we have a remaining phase 2 gap of about $800,000. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
You know what I'm kind of curious though is like, can the homeowner, can they buy the home and then sell it and make that money off of it, or like are they locked in for an agreement? You know what I mean? Because like, hey, I got $140,000 extra. Hey, look at me.
And questions, comments from councilors. Councilor Gibson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. This is in my district, and I'm proud to
Makes me
support
want to
it.
get a Jolly Rancher.
I'm really excited about the fact that this affordability is the subsidy is really on the buyer side. I think that's significant here.
Paid for by the taxpayers,
others to
motherfucker.
really to invest in a home, and we're here in the city, if that makes any sense. But also, I wanted to know, you're in good standing with the Reagan Park neighborhood still?
Yes, though I would be more than happy to defer to them if they would like to speak on their own behalf.
I haven't heard anything recently, so I assume that you are in still good standing with them, and I appreciate
They talked to me in the lobby, which is probably a good sign.
I appreciate the partnership with them. But my final question to you is the gap. What's the plan to close the gap in the phase 2?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two sources we're currently targeting. One is an additional allocation of new market tax credits we're seeking from outside of the city of Indianapolis. And then the other is through the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indianapolis. They have an affordable housing program, or AHP grant. We have already submitted twice in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, me as the lead for this applicant was unsuccessful, but I am the eternal optimist and will continue to pursue so that we can develop the full 33 units.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Additional questions. Councilor Delaney.
Thank you. I am looking at the numbers, and I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. The home is selling for $350,000. The client is bringing in $7,000. The down payment assistance, is that what I'll call like a gift to the buyer?
Yeah, so essentially how it would work is it would be a grant, but there would be a mortgage attached to the property for that amount that's provided in down payment assistance. It's called what's called a recapture provision that is pretty standard in affordable housing. And the idea behind it is that, an individual, I say that I present a monthly to our homebuyer education class, and I explain this every time, is that, our subsidy and the reason we're providing this is not to put that money into a client's pocket, it's to get them an affordable home. So that mortgage is there so the client can't immediately turn around and pocket that $140,000. They need to stay there for the recapture period, which for this we're anticipating a 30-year recapture period for them.
Holy shit, that's so funny. Oh my God. So this is how they tether them to the home then. So you have to stay there for 30 years. Otherwise, you have to pay the $140,000 back, basically. That's crazy. And by the way, nobody stays in their home for 30 years. Not anymore. Not in this modern day. And, people forget, too, that a lot of the materials that these the home builders are using, they're shit. The minimum standard is the minimum standard. And if they can get away with making as much profit as they can, they certainly will. This isn't like, my house is, it's like 90 years old, right? And this fucking thing's still standing. I mean, good luck trying to find a house in 30 years that isn't all put together by cardboard and falling apart.
So they have to live there for 30 years.
Or else they would need to repay that amount. But there are no payments associated to it, and it does not accrue any interest. So if they live there for 20 years, it's still the same $140,000 that they originally had. Again, and they get all of the appreciation on the home. So if their home increases 2% appreciation over the years, they get all of that. They also get anything they paid down in terms of their mortgages.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. Thank you. And
Okay, so I don't know, what was it? I just did 1,400. I don't know, there was some extra couple dollars after that, but by the time they're done making all their payments for 30 years, it'll be $504,000, $500,000.
then the market expander loan.
By the way, that's just the mortgage. That doesn't include property taxes. That doesn't include the utilities. That's purely the mortgage on a 1,500 square foot condo. How fucking crazy is that? Man, are they making out like a bandit?
How is that different than the down payment assistance?
Yeah, I probably should have incorporated a slide into it because I have a visual that I can do that always explains it a little better than just me verbally saying it. But essentially how it works is, traditional mortgages that we see are 30 years, right? What we do is we create a 20-year loan for the first part, and then we use a grant and funds to provide a 10-year loan on the back end. And effectively what that does is it gives a pretty consistent loan payment across all 30 years. But again, the client benefits from a 20-year interest rate as opposed to a 30-year, which is usually, much less expensive or lesser in terms of interest rate. So the client is spending more in terms of paying down their equity in the home and generating equity quicker and less towards interest rates.
I see. So what the client is paying on is the basically $203,000 is what they're making monthly payments on.
Correct. So that first number is what they'll be paying for the first 20 years. The second number is what they'll be paying off in the last 10 years, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. So it's a little different, but yes, I see that. Okay. Then their estimated monthly payment is $1,416. Since you said you couldn't see it, but that's what it does say.
I put it in orange, which is always a dangerous situation.
Okay. All right. I understand that now. It's
$509,000.
Different than what very conventional financing is. So thank you.
And let me be clear that every time I tell this to my coworkers who have been dealing with mortgages for decades and much longer than I have, they still look at me crazy with all the funding sources and complexity we have. So we didn't do it on purpose, but we did it because we think this maximizes the development and maximizes the benefit to the client, and we think it creates as much affordability as we can for the project.
Thank you.
Additional questions, comments? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 16? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
You know, it's crazy. If for a conventional 3% down payment, it's only $10,500. So it's kind of crazy, honestly. Like if you're saying, well, I mean, this is what Zillow's telling me anyways. Anywhere from 3% to 20%. So let's just say 3%. All right. I guess depending what your credit score is. What was mine? Mine was like, oh yeah, I mean right now anyway. Yeah, right now, what is it? 7% right now? Whatever I think mine is like 4.5, or my interest was 4. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of different factors, but fucking taxpayers get screwed again.
Councilor Delaney.
I move to send proposal number 16, authorizing the issuance of one or more series of City of Indianapolis bonds. I apologize.
Say so moved.
So moved.
Motion been properly moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 384, and it looks like we can take 384 and 385 together. approves a declaratory resolution and economic development plan of the Metropolitan Development Commission to amend the consolidated downtown redevelopment area northwest allocation area by removing designated parcels to create an economic development area known as the Kennedy-Chloe Economic Development Area, and to designate the entirety of the area as the Kennedy-Chloe allocation area in pursuit of Indiana Code 36-7-15.1.
We're almost there. 10 more minutes, boys. 10 more minutes. We're almost there.
Authorizes the issuance of a developer-backed economic development tax increment revenue bonds for the KTKF Holding LLC in a maximum aggregated principal not to exclude $2,256,000 for the cost of acquisitions, construction, and renovation. And did I pronounce that right, Ms. Dunn? Is it Chloe or?
You pronounced it correctly.
Great, thank you. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Brooke Dunn. I am an attorney with Fagery Drinker, and I'm representing my client, KTKF Holdings.
Come on.
With me this evening is my colleague, Joe Smith, who is also attorney at Fagery Drinker, and
what the
Mark
hell
Young,
is she
who
wearing?
is representing the
Listen, I'm usually not one to clothes shame, but he's got the Joy Reid hair color. It's probably a wig, and then like the over-the-top collar. What the fuck?
developer, and the owner, Mr. Ken Thorpe, is here as well. As you're aware, affordable and quality housing is a real need and a priority in our city. Before you today are two housing projects that aim to address this need.
This might possibly be the worst presentation I've ever heard.
I am sharing with you information on the Kennedy project and the Chloe project. And first, I'll start off just by sharing some information on the developer. KTKF Holdings is owned by Mr. Ken Thorpe and is a minority-owned company certified with the City of Indianapolis. Company principals have business and real estate experience throughout the City of Indianapolis. The Chloe and Kennedy are two projects that include a total of 52 apartment units across two sites. The sites are currently or were undeveloped. They're currently in the process of being developed now. And prior to that, they were undeveloped, and the addition of quality housing will benefit the community.
Good God, I'm sorry, boys. I know my ears are getting waterboarded right now. Let's just try and get through it, though. I'm sorry.
The developer is setting aside 3 units in each project for a total of 6 units, which meets the city's affordable housing requirement under the terms of the project. The developer has also completed the city's design review process and received the necessary approvals from the city. Next, I'll give you some background on the owner and some projects that have been completed by the owner. Canal Gardens Condominiums was completed in 2008. This included the planning and construction of 8 townhome-style condos at 12th and MLK in downtown Indianapolis, and involved the acquisition of over 15 separately owned single-family lots and homes, plus the development of a multi-phase new construction project. Canal Garden Apartments is a project that was completed in 2011. This included the planning and construction of 26 units.
I know where that's at. It looks like Cabrini Green.
At a building located on MLK in the downtown area as well. And with each of these projects, I've included pictures so that you can have an idea of what the projects look like. On the next slide, you can see the development team. Now, to give you specific information about the project, the Chloe is a 36-unit apartment project with associated infrastructure improvements that is on 14th and Dr. Martin Luther King Street. This project includes 36 professionally managed units, 1 and 2 bedroom units. It also includes 21 on-site surface parking spaces for residents.
The Chloe.
The
Oh, I'm
project
sure this
also-
is going to be the safest area on Dr. MLK Street. There's no need to lock your doors over here. I'm sure this is a fantastic area.
Also includes underground stormwater design. The next slide provides more details on the project, the developer, and this project was started in November 2024. The completion date is scheduled for May 2025. The total cost of the project is $8.5 million, which includes hard and soft cost, as well as bond issuance costs. And again, this also includes infrastructure improvements for the project. The Kennedy is a 16-unit apartment project of approximately 15,000 square feet of residential space located near the IU Indianapolis and Purdue University Indianapolis campus in Indianapolis, in downtown Indianapolis. And the project is located on the Cultural Trail as well. The next slide includes council support for the project. The project is located in District 12. The next 2 slides includes details on the financing of the project. As mentioned, the funding includes the issuance of economic development tax increment revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $2,256,000 to finance the construction, acquisition, renovation, and equipment of certain economic development facilities. The project does expect to meet MBE, WBE, VBE, and DOBE goals. The next slide provides a breakdown of bond proceeds for the total project. So the total cost of the project is estimated to be not less than $13,781,000. The total cost for the portion of the project to be financed with proceeds of the bonds is estimated to be in an amount not to exceed $2,256,000, which includes all incidental costs and cost of issuance of the bonds anticipated to be incurred in order to finance the total cost of the project. The developer has committed to making a 1% contribution to public art through the Indy Arts Council. The developer is also working with Indigo and the city to make the bus stop near the project ADA accessible by funding this work. We've provided an additional slide with project cost with incentives and project cost without incentives. As far as a project overview, the work on the Chloe has started and again plans to be completed by the second quarter of 2025. At this point, the Kennedy is complete. The developer has completed their XBE outreach, which was completed in November of 2024, and continues that work. We are excited about this project and, again, the opportunity to provide quality housing in the city. At this time, are there any questions that we may answer for you?
Thank you so much, Mrs. Dunn, for your presentation. Questions, comments from councilors? Councilor Barth.
Thank you for your presentation. On the Chloe, you said the percent for art, it's going to be handled as a donation rather than a project?
Correct.
And I'm sorry, did you list how much the amount was?
It's 1% of the total amount of the bonds. So I don't have the number right in front of me.
Okay, I was just curious. I think putting the money in the fund is perfectly appropriate. I was just curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional questions from counselors? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 384, 385?
That was like literally the fucking worst presentation ever.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Madam Leader.
The motion's been properly moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Counselor Delaney, are you
Madam,
opposing or you have a question?
neither. I need to abstain. Madam Chair, I need to abstain my vote because it's a possible conflict of interest. So, thank you.
So who does she work for then?
Let's do that vote again. I apologize. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed.
Wait a minute. It doesn't show that she works for anybody. On the election board forever. That was it. So who
Opposed, same
working
sign.
for?
Thank you. The motion carries. Thank you for your presentations. Congratulations. There is no other business before this committee. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. We are adjourned.
Well, there we go. There we go. See, it was a little bit boring, but also realizing like our taxpayer money is totally getting fucking wasted as usual to help out some welfare people that decide that they would rather spend their money on possible black and milds instead of actually trying to live for the future. But hey, what are we gonna do, right? And it's just gonna be a mess. But I am slightly behind on videos. However, I did hear that the public works meeting was crazy tonight. Yeah, I checked, it was like a little over 2 hours. So depending on how fast the video goes out on that, I might do that one next. But look for basically a video coming out every single day until I'm completely caught up. And make sure you check out Indie Reporter. Give me a like and subscribe because we need to get the algorithm going. Until next time.